Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Degenerate Disseminators Podcast. I'm Jordan. He's Daniel, and today we're talking
Hey
about
guys.
UFC Nashville. Um, so before I get into this, I did want to give out some official plays, but we only have money line bets right now. I'm a big prop better for UFC, but we don't got those right now. I will dive into the odds a little bit. Give some leans. But if I do make anything official, it will be on our Instagram, which will be in the link down below. Um, Daniel, I think you can agree. This is for a non-Apex fight night, this card is really not that good. What do you think?
Yeah, it kind of sucks. I don't know anyone who's on this except for Calvin Cater, Derrick Lewis, and Stephen Thompson. Those are
Yeah,
the only three people
I mean, I
that are.
know of some of them, but I feel like usually when they do like a locationed, fight night, they definitely do have some bigger names. A little more marquee matchups. I think there are a lot of like potentially fun matchups. But as far as like, moving really far up in the rankings, any like title shot picture here, we're not getting that on this card. Usually when we get, a location main event, for example, we went to UFC Tampa, we had Joaquin Buckley and Colby Covington, and that kind of propelled Joaquin Buckley into title conversation, got him in a one contender fight potentially with Kamaru Usman, which he lost unfortunately. But yeah, I definitely don't think we're seeing that here, sadly. But yeah, we're focusing on three fights today. Like I said, there are some good matchups on here. They could be fun, but doesn't really do it for me as far as like the future of the divisions and things like that. But first up, I do want to look at the Calvin Kattar versus Steve Garcia fight. Um, Calvin Kattar has been looking very bad. I know he was injured at one point. I forget off the top of my head what exactly the injury was. Um, Actually, was that him? I might be getting that confused. Let me see here. Um, Actually, no. There's really no gap. He had a fight against Max Holloway, lost unanimous decision. This was back in 2021. Bounced back against Giga Chikadze, won by unanimous decision. But since that, in 2022, he's only fought four times in the past 3 years, and he's lost all four. Lost a decision to Josh Emmett, got knocked out by Arnold Allen, lost to Aljamain Sterling, and just lost to Yusuf Zalal. I wasn't a big fan of that Zalal fight. Um, I do believe he sits at the number 14 rank, yes, in the featherweight division. Going against Steve Garcia. Um, for Steve, however, this is kind of definitely a big jump in names he's fighting here. Has a chance to break into the top 15. Um, but he has won five fights in a row. So it is a bit hard for me to pick here. We have a guy who's lost four in a row going up against the guy who's won five in a row. But the guy who's won five in a row hasn't been against really big names. Yeah, I really don't know. Steve Garcia is a boxer, so is Calvin Kattar. Calvin has 11 knockouts. Steve has 14. What do you think here, Daniel? Do you think the jump in competition is going to be too big for Steve? Do you think we see Calvin Kattar get back in the win column? What are you feeling?
I mean, obviously, I'd like to see Calvin Cater get back into the win column, but it doesn't really. The odds are stacked against him.
Yeah,
I think
he is
the
coming into
odds are.
this. He's in the top 15, but he is even money. Steve Garcia is slightly favored.
Yeah, I think the odds are against Cater. He's slightly older. Well, not slightly. He's 4 years older. Slightly shorter. His reach. He
Yeah,
does
Steve's a
not
big
have a reach
featherweight.
advantage.
6 feet at 145 is
Yeah,
kind of crazy.
big guy.
Hmm.
So I mean, I don't know. I think it. These guys are pretty like close, I guess, when it comes to height and reach, but the odds are obviously in Garcia's favor, and him winning his last five fights is definitely gonna give him that confidence boost to probably throw against Cater. So I mean, I don't know. I want Cater to win, but I think Garcia is probably gonna end up taking it.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned confidence because in those in this four fight losing streak Calvin's had, he just hasn't looked confident whatsoever. He hasn't really been able to get anything going in these fights. Maybe in the Josh Emmett fight, that was a split decision, but since then he's kind of been outclassed in all aspects, in my opinion. But I do agree with you. Want to see him get back in the win column, but yeah, I think they're kind of beating him to the sharks here. Making him that gatekeeper, which is
Pretty much.
a hard position to be in. I do lean Steve, but like I did say, Calvin Kattar is even money, maybe a good value there. He has faced the best of the best in 145. Maybe that carries him over
He
the
has a lot
edge.
of experience, so
Yeah,
that'll help him out.
yeah, we'll
But
see though. But yeah,
it's in a row.
I guess my official prediction here, I have to go Steve Garcia. What do you think?
I agree.
Alrighty.
Or at least
Um,
a money line bet. I would go with him. It's a safe option at least.
yeah, he's only minus 125, so there's still even good value in that. Um, yeah, it's a 3-round fight. I could see it going the distance. Technical striking matchup, some point fighting going on, but I do lean Steve here. Um, in the co-main event, we have another Steve, Stephen Thompson, going against Gabriel Bonfim. I do agree. I love Stephen Thompson, but once again, I think we're getting another Fed to the Sharks scenario here. Um,
This fight makes me so sad. So
yeah.
upset.
Props to Wonder Boy for still fighting. I believe is he 40? Do I have that right?
He's 42.
42, right? Okay, yes. He's one of the older fighters that are still active. Um, I don't know the details of Steven's contract. I don't know how many fights he has left. Um, I know he has said pretty openly he wants to fight for as long as he can. But, going against Gabriel Bonfim, this dude's a killer. He's 17-1 professionally, and he's finished 16 of 17 opponents, and I believe he has 13 submissions. Yes, 13 submissions and 3 knockouts. Big ground game he has, which we've seen Thompson struggle with, especially in that Shavkat fight. Um, Bonfim's coming off 2 wins. Most importantly,
He
his
did get
last,
knocked out.
yeah, against Nicholas Dalby, which you know some things to be said about that. But he has bounced back well. A UD win and then a sub win against Chaos Williams, which I actually had money on Chaos Williams in that fight. I don't remember. We might have made that official. I'm not sure. I might have to go back and check that. But Chaos Williams is a big power puncher. He was able to not get knocked out, and he ended up choking him to sleep with the Darce choke in the second round. So looking pretty solid for Bonfim here, as opposed to Stephen Thompson. I kind of think he left everything he had left in the sport in that Kevin Holland fight, which is about two and a
Yeah.
half years ago, December of 2022. I was actually at that fight. It was awesome. But happy he won that one. But like I said, I do think he kind of left it all out there. And the question that comes to me, like if Stephen Thompson does get this win, right? What's next for him? I feel like welterweight is becoming one of the more stacked divisions in the sport. I don't see him fighting up and winning against anyone in welterweight, if I'm being honest. What do you think, Dan?
I think he should retire.
Yeah, I do have to go.
I mean, guy's 42. He's had a great career. Everybody loves him. He's a good guy. I think he should save his brain and retire and just coach up and coming UFC fighters. I think that's a good idea for him.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, once again, another fan favorite going against another up and comer. It sucks to say I want to take the up and comer here. But the Stephen Thompson's 3-1, underdog right now. So I do have to go Bonfim. We have seen Thompson struggle at times on the ground. He has an interesting fighting style. It is hard to get him down. But we know Bonfim can get these, striker heavy fighters down, like we just saw in his last fight against Chaos Williams. Like I said, dude's an absolute killer. He's out of his 17 wins, he's finished 16 people. I wouldn't be surprised if he subs Wonder Boy here. And if that line does come out and it's anything close to plus money, I will have to make that official. I fear, but like I said, we don't have any prop bets out right now. But yeah, hate to see it, but I think Wonder Boy loses here. And once again, another fan favorite, Derrick Lewis going against Tallison Teixeira. Um, what do you think about
Tallison, 6'7".
6'7",
What
and he hasn't seen a second round in his professional career.
is this? Oh yeah, he's 8-0. Damn.
8-0, all first round finishes, 7 knockouts and 1 submission. Um, once
Is he
again,
Brazilian Tom Aspinall?
he might be. I did want to mention that this is very similar to what we're seeing with Tom Aspinall. It is important to note though, this is only Tallison Teixeira's second UFC fight, third if you want to count his fight on the Contender Series. Um,
Okay.
but yeah. Had a great knockout against Arthur Lopez on the Contender Series. I'm sure you guys have seen that clip. It went pretty viral. And then he made light work of Justin Tafa in his second UFC appearance in 35 seconds. Um, yeah, once again, I think they're kind of feeding the older guy to the wolves here. Derrick Lewis is 40, while Tallison's 25, and Daniel, like Daniel mentioned, he is 6'7", and he has an 83-inch reach, which is a 4-inch reach advantage over Derrick Lewis. Um,
I know.
this is
Lewis is a
interesting.
strike heavy guy. I think they're gonna just beat the shit out of each other, and Lewis is gonna fucking die in like the second round. And that's it.
I think
It's over.
I think this is the case, but like I did mention, Tallison's never seen a second round. While Lewis is older, he's fought the best of the best. He's definitely declined in form, but he is coming off a win against Rodrigo Nascimento, third round knockout. It was a great fight. That was over a year ago at this point. Um,
Is that the one where he's like, I just threw some bullshit?
no, that was
And
against De Lima. Yeah, he finished him in
yeah,
33
okay.
seconds. That was back in 2023. Um, but
Damn.
it kind of
Yeah,
begs
and
the.
then
Go ahead.
he lost the jail pin.
He did lose to Jailton, and then he did have that nice third round KO. But there's a lot of questions to be asked here. If Tallison can't get him out of there in the first round, does he drop off, and Derrick Lewis's chances go up? We Derrick Lewis is definitely trained for a lot more 5-round fights, which this is going to be. Um, do you think his chances of winning go up the further the fight goes on?
I think so. Just because Teixeira clearly, I mean, he hasn't been involved in any 5-round fights ever.
Mm-hmm.
At least not in his professional career so far. So it's entirely possible that after the first round, his gas tank flies out the window, and Lewis now will have the advantage because obviously he's more tempered. He's got more stamina. Even for a fat guy, he could go for a while. So
I know in that Nascimento
it's
fight,
entirely
he
possible.
was leading up to that, he was like, "Oh, I got abs now, like I'm locked in." Where Ronda Rousey fight
Yeah,
ass at. Um,
true.
so I
Uh,
so if you get like a parlay bet where it's like Derek Lewis over 1.5 rounds, he's a plus 210 in this fight, so I'm assuming that would have to be a pretty solid number. I think that is a good value bet. But like I said, it does come down to if he can weather that first round and bring Tallison into a new place we haven't seen from him yet professionally. I think that's going to be the key to victory for him. But if I had
yeah,
to, give a official lean, I think I am going to go the younger guy by 15 years with the 4-inch
yeah.
height and reach advantage. But yeah, if we get a good number for like Derek Lewis over a round and a half, I'm gonna take it. But I do think this card was kind of meant to boost a lot of these younger guys up. If I'm being honest, get some new guys in the top 15, and I do think Tallison is something the heavyweight division kind of needs because it kind of begs the same question as the Thompson fight. If Derek Lewis wins, what's next for him? Um, he's been lost to Tai Tuivasa. Well, not even gonna mention him. He's on a horrible skid. Lost to Sergey Pavlovich, lost to Sergey Spivak, and then lost to Jalton Almeida. I don't see Derek Lewis getting back in the title picture anytime soon, and the dude is 40 years old, which is pretty old for the hardest hitting division in all of mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
So would love to see Derek Lewis win. Fan favorite, one of my favorite fighters, most knockouts in UFC history. But yeah, I do think it does come down to him, winning or making it out of that first round without getting knocked out, and then kind of taking it from there. See how Tallison holds up. But yeah, that's the three key matchups I wanted to look at on this card. Daniel, I have a question. If you think Joey Chestnut and CM Punk fought in a UFC sanctioned match, who wins?
Joey Chestnut,
Okay, good. Um,
hands down. That hot dog power, we ain't ever seen
I,
anything
I
like
think I
it.
think there's some money to be made with that fight. If I'm being honest, I think we might have
Oh,
to send some
absolutely.
DMs, get that in the works. What else happened in the UFC world?
Where's beard meets food in all of this?
I don't know, eating beans somewhere. um, um, John Jones said he's back in the testing pool. Have you seen anything about that or no?
No, I hope he is banned from UFC forever.
Yeah,
That guy. I
I'm
think
not
that
surprised.
would be
Unfortunately, he strikes me as a big FOMO guy. I think he wanted his retirement to kind of like stick around for a little bit. Um, Ilya knocked out Charles, and that was kind of like the big talk of the sport. And he was like, "Oh man, I want people to talk about
Yeah,
me again." He's like, "Yeah, I'm back, guys."
exactly.
It
That's
lasted
why we
about
don't like that guy, you fucking asshole.
yeah. I mean, he's made it very clear he doesn't want to fight Aspinall. I don't expect that fight to be announced. I don't think that's why he entered the testing pool again. I know there are some talks about a UFC event at the White House. If John Jones were to fight again, who would you like to see him fight against?
Tom Aspinall.
Assuming he's out of the picture, because I think he's made it very clear he doesn't want to fight Tom.
Tom Aspinall.
I wouldn't mind seeing him versus Pereira, but I do want to see Pereira get.
Actually, that would be cool. I would like John Jones to go back down to light heavyweight.
No, I think Pereira would go up if anything. I know he posted a picture on Instagram not too long ago. He was on a scale. He said he was like 246 or something like that. But
Oh,
yeah,
fuck.
I wouldn't mind seeing that at all.
I would actually. Yeah, that would be a cool fight. I hope Pereira knocks him out. That's it.
Yeah.
I hope Jones' career is ended by Mr. Hands of Stone.
Yeah, and one last question, Daniel. Do you think we get a fight announcement for JDM versus Islam Makhachev before the year's over? Or do you think that fight will happen before the year's over?
I mean, ADM fought what, like 2 or 3 months ago?
I can look that up really quick. Give me 1 second. When
Islam, the last time he fought was against fucking
Moicano, I believe, yeah.
which was like damn near last year at this point.
Let me see.
Right?
The JDM fight was May 10th. So yeah, 2 months ago. A
2 months.
little less than like a month and like 20 something days.
Month and some change.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see it happening. Obviously, with Makachev moving up, I don't think there's any other fight to give him but JDM.
Yeah, for sure. I do want to see that soon. I do want to ask you about a lot of other fights that are already scheduled, but we gotta save those for the episodes. For those cards, don't wanna spoil anything. But I think that's gonna do it for us today. Dan, is there anything else you'd like to add before we send things off?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for us today, guys. Like I said, still waiting on some bets to be added to the book. Unfortunately, we are in a Hard Rock bet jail because we live in Florida, so kind of gotta wait and see what they do. Can't really look at other books, unfortunately. But I will make some plays official, hopefully, if anything catches my eye, on our Instagram at DD Sports Podcast. Links are down below. And yeah, guys, we'll catch you in the next one.